Think that it is live on Facebook. So we'll just go ahead and get started. Hi, Stacy.
Hi, Margot.
How are you today?
I'm doing great.
Oh, good. Well, we've had a few technical difficulties with getting up and running, but we're here now. And for those of you that are on Facebook, we're streaming into my page because I know I have a lot of friends from a lot of different places all over the country. And we just want to give you guys the opportunity to learn about our real estate market in coastal North Carolina. The market is kind of crazy right now, isn't it, Stacy?
It is absolutely crazy.
Yeah, and we're hearing that everywhere. But we just wanted to come to you guys and talk a little bit about what our real estate market is doing in southeastern North Carolina, and also talk to you about how to win the bid, how to have your offer accepted, what sellers are looking for in our current markets. And so we're really excited to share some good information with you today. Or tonight. But before we get started, I am going to tell you a little bit about our team. If you're on Facebook, you know me, or at least Facebook friends. So I'm Margot Weatherford, and I have a real estate team in North Carolina and South Carolina, and also do some referring business down in Jamaica, and we can consult with you on other Caribbean islands if you're looking for connections. And then, of course, Stacy here is a team member of mine. She is a buyer's agent on our team, and she services more of, she can tell you where she works, but she lives on the beach. The view up in this top left-hand picture is pretty close to her window from her kitchen. So, Stacy, why don't you tell the people that are watching a little bit about you?
Excellent. I'm Stacy Owens, and I live on the beautiful Topsail Island, which is about an hour outside of Wilmington. My husband and I sold some businesses in 2018 and decided to move to our beach home, and we've been very happy ever since we made that decision.
Yes. And you work primarily with folks, so we'll tell them the areas that you service primarily.
Okay, my biggest, I service Topsail Island, which is North Topsail Beach, Surf City, and Topsail Beach. I do a lot of investment properties there, a lot of second homes, and then I do first home buy, or I do regular residential properties usually in Hampstead, Holly Ridge, Jacksonville, and Sneads Ferry.
Awesome. And would you say, and we're about to take a look at the market trends, but as far as the beach is concerned, are there a lot of people in the US right now that want to be on our beaches?
Absolutely. Our market here has not slowed down at all with rising interest rates and other things that are going on in the world. Our inventory is very low, and we have a lot of people that want second homes or investment properties here.
Yeah. Well, let's talk a little bit about that. So what we're going to go into first on this call is we wanted to show you guys the areas that we're covering. So obviously North Carolina, when I tell people that I am a real estate broker licensed in North Carolina and South Carolina, I mean, they're two states, they're big areas. So I kind of have to get dialed in on where exactly we work and where we can help you or your clients. So this is a map that shows where we serve in southeastern North Carolina. We pretty much cover these 4 counties. So from south to north, Brunswick County, New Hanover County, which is where Wilmington is, Pender County, which is Hampstead, Surf City, on into Holly Ridge and Sneads Ferry, which is going up into Onslow County. And sometimes we'll even go that. We really like to stay in this area. And I mean, from the North Carolina state line all the way to Sneads Ferry is probably about 2 hours worth of distance. So our team covers a large area. We're very knowledgeable about different microclimates. And I'm excited to have Stacy on my team because Stacy is an expert up in the North Topsail, Surf City, Topsail Island areas. And so she can help our buyers and sellers up that way too. Okay, but let's talk about some market trends. So what's happening in our local markets as it relates to median price, days on market, and month supply of inventory. And we'll talk about what that means. I'm just going to go through the first two, and then Stacy will cover the rest. So New Hanover County, which is where Wilmington, it's basically just Wilmington and Carolina Beach. Do you want to say hey?
Yeah, I'm gonna.
Okay. But the median sales price for New Hanover County right now is $346,000. That is an increase of 15% from this time last year. Days on market, 4 days on market for a house to go from active to pending, which is basically like as quickly as possible. That's down 60% from this time last year. And month supply of inventory, which is the amount of homes inventory available that we have in the marketplace, is under a month of inventory. So that means it would take less than 30 days for all of the inventory in our marketplace to be saturated, to be bought up. And a healthy market, you probably want to see 3 to 5 months of inventory, but at 0.8, I mean, we're at the low of the low. Like that, you can't get much lower than that before you hit 0. So that's an unprecedented number as it relates to month supply. In Brunswick County would be like Ocean Isle Beach, Sunset Beach, Southport. I know we have a lot of buyers that are looking to relocate to Southport or down to St. James, or maybe looking at some of our southeastern North Carolina beaches south of Wilmington. Median sales price for the Brunswick County area is $337,000 and some change, up 18% from last year. 7 days on market, down 70% from last year, and month supply of inventory is just a little more than New Hanover County at a little over 1 month, and that's down 50% from last year. So Stacy, do you want to tell us about Hampstead and Holly Ridge, what's happening there?
Absolutely. In Hampstead, which is just a little north of Wilmington, we have the median sales price is $385,000, which is up 14.5% from last year. Days on market is 6, which is crazy. And we have about a month's supply of inventory in Hampstead. Holly Ridge is north of Hampstead, between the Hampstead and Jacksonville, and it is a little more affordable with a median sales price of $274,000, but it is up 17% from last year. Average days on market is Holly Ridge is 3, so you have to get very aggressive because the price points are so great, with less than 0.7 month supply of inventory.
Crazy. So it seems like all of these areas are trending as far as really low days on market, really low month supply of inventory. And even though the price points are different, the buyers are different for these markets. Right, Stacy?
Yes, absolutely.
Why don't you tell us about your beaches up there in Pender and Onslow County?
Okay, Surf City, the median sales price is $500 with 5 days on market. Topsail Beach is the median sales price is $905, and that number is very high because the inventory is so low there. Things don't come up on the market very often. Also with a 5-day on market. And North Topsail Beach, the median sales price is $764 with also 5 days on market. And then the median price for land on North Topsail Beach is $465, $719. And we do not have the graphic, but that land price is very close in Surf City and Topsail Beach as well. Mm-hmm. Oceanfront properties, probably around $800,000, and then the interior lots around $300,000.
Mm-hmm. So are you seeing, just to kind of expand on that a little bit, are you seeing that more buyers are having to look for vacant land because inventory is so low in the housing market right now?
Absolutely. There is just not a lot of good inventory right now. It's very low. And so there's been a lot of building going on, a lot of new construction. Um, there's some tear downs as well. So a lot of people, the house next door to me, somebody bought it and tore it down, and so they can build a nice new house next door on the ocean.
Yeah, it's wild. Well, Stacy, anything else you want to add about these market trends before we move?
If you'll, yes, if you'll notice that the days on market says 5, that means if you're looking to move to the beach and you see a house you like and you think, oh, I'm going to plan a trip to the beach so I can go look at this house, it's more than likely going to be gone before you make it down here. So
Right.
it's very important to have a local person that can, when you see that house you like, I can go do a FaceTime walkthrough for you and show you the property. And a lot of times people have to make offers before they even see the houses. If they know the area, know where they want to be, they just got to take a leap of faith if they want to win the bid.
Right, exactly. Yeah, and that is so helpful that you actually live right there. So if someone, if a house comes on the market midday on a Tuesday, you could be over there showing them on, FaceTime or whatever that afternoon. And not every agent is going to be able to do that for their clients.
Yes, it makes it, I feel like I have a huge advantage there, helping my buyers find the best properties before they're gone.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, well, let's move on. So the next thing that we wanted to show you is we just put together a list of areas, both outside city limits and inside city limits, as far as affordability is concerned. So if you're looking in southeastern North Carolina and you want to buy a property, whether it's a primary or an investment or a second home, and you're looking under $300,000, these are the areas that you should be looking. So Castlehane, Bolivia, Charlotte, Boiling Springs, and Burgall, these are in different counties, some of them, but the median sales price for a single family home, this is where you can still buy under 300,000 in our markets. Under 400,000, actually North Topsail Beach. And Stacy, I looked at that number. I was like, 395, that's crazy, because that's how much a lot costs. But I think, wouldn't you agree, it's the townhomes and the condos on the north end that are driving that down?
Yes, in North Topsail Beach, we have a lot more condo complexes than there are in Surf City and there are in Topsail Beach. So because of that, it skews the price point. And a lot at the very, very north end of the island, there is a complex that you can get for under 300,000, and they sell a lot of those, and that really brings down, it skews the average.
Yeah. I remember New River Inlet, we sold a condo there maybe a year and a half ago. And we sold it for I want to say 97,000, or we listed it for 97,000. And now even those one bedrooms have hopped up into the 150s, 200.
Yes, yes, prices have definitely been rising.
Yeah. So under 400,000, North Topsail, Hampstead is still an option. Wilmington, Rocky Point, Leland, and Supply, Winnebago area down in Brunswick County. But you have to remember too that the available inventory is so low that even though this is the median price point, um, when a house at this price point comes on the market, it's typically going to be in multiple offers if it's priced correctly. And then we also wanted to include more of the, 500 and then 500 plus areas so that what that looks like as well. So under 500,000, Surf City, Ocean Isle, Sunset, and Southport are still great options. And then if you are looking over 500,000 or you're looking for something in the multi-millions, Figure Eight Island, Wrightsville Beach, Bald Head, Topsail, Curry Beach, and Carolina Beach are options for you as well. So that's kind of an overview of all of our markets here in southeastern North Carolina. And now we wanted to talk with you guys about the terms that make up an offer, and then how to win the bid. Because Stacy, when we were getting ready for this presentation, I know we were talking about the fact that we're having calls with buyers in other states or other areas that they really don't know how our contract is set up in North Carolina. And this is useful information, right? For them.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So why don't you share a little bit with, those that are watching about these terms that are important to sellers in Southeastern North Carolina?
Absolutely. The purchase price is going to be what the house is listed for and what you come to terms to buy the house for. So the purchase price is pretty much anywhere you go, it's the same thing. In North Carolina, we have something called due diligence, and I sell a lot of properties to people that are not from North Carolina because on the beaches, we have a lot of people coming from other states, and the real estate is different here than where they come from. And so the due diligence money, I like to think of it, it's like what you're paying the seller to take their house off the market. Mm-hmm. The due diligence money is not refundable. So once you write that check, you write it directly to the seller and they cash that check and it is gone. So buyers just need to know that when they decide to go into contract and they write that due diligence money, they're not going to get it back. There's a due diligence here. Go ahead.
Until closing.
Until closing, yes. And I wanted to make that point that when they go to close on the property, it is deducted from the purchase price. So they do get credit for it, but if they pay the due diligence money and then decide to walk away for any reason, they do not get that due diligence money back.
Yeah.
And then, so when you put your due diligence money, the seller will take their house off the market, and then you have time to do inspections and do your due diligence. And there will be a time period, usually it could be 1 week, 2 week, whatever you put in your contract. And when that time is over, then if you decide to go on with your contract, that's where the earnest money comes in. I do not see as many sellers concerned about earnest money in this market because they're usually getting a pretty big due diligence up front. The earnest money is held by the closing attorney usually, or the other real estate firm. Also, it will be deducted from your purchase price, but you will not lose your due diligence money if you decide to back out of a contract. I mean, you will not lose your earnest money if you decide to back out of a contract before the due diligence period is over.
Right. And we're actually seeing, a lot of buyers are giving substantial amounts of due diligence money to the seller, but they're not asking for any due diligence period. So they're essentially saying, we want this house so much that we're willing to give you this amount of money right now. We know it's non-refundable if we choose to back out. And we are not asking for any period to do our own due diligence or let the buyer beware period on the property. And there's some controversy around that, isn't there?
Absolutely. It's very risky, especially on the coast, because you don't know what you're getting into.
Right.
So it's very good to have a real estate agent that's knowledgeable, because usually you know who built a house, and some builders just build a better house. And so it's very important to have a knowledgeable agent if you're going to put some big due diligence money up there and waive your due diligence period.
Absolutely. And in the state of North Carolina, we don't require inspections. So we were talking about, we've had clients from New York who are selling a house up there. And if you're listening to this and you live in New York State, you have an inspection, I believe that's mandated by the state of New York. But here we don't have that. It's, it's as is. The property is being sold as is unless something else is being negotiated.
Absolutely.
Okay, so what are the other terms that are important?
The next bullet point you have is loan and who is your lender. And that is huge. If you make an offer, a lot of agents have had nightmare stories about certain lenders, and they won't accept. If it's a multiple offer situation, they will not choose somebody who is not going to get that loan to the closing table. So it's very important to have a trusted lender, just as important it is to have a trusted agent, somebody that you know is going to get that loan done in a timely fashion.
Right, exactly. And, if you're lucky enough to win the bid, having a mortgage involved, obviously the next bullet point that you'll talk about has some significance when it comes to winning the bid if you are in fact going to be borrowing money to do so. So talk a little about.
Yes. So in this market, usually there are multiple offers, and a lot of the houses that are being sold in coastal North Carolina go for over asking now.
Mhm.
And sometimes they will not appraise for over asking. And so it's really, I know a lot of sellers love when the buyer is willing to say, well, even if the house doesn't appraise, we're willing to come up with cash and pay the difference, because a lender cannot lend you more money than the house appraises for.
Mhm.
So, and you're going to need to have some cash on hand if you're making an over asking offer and it is accepted and it doesn't appraise for what you offered.
Right. So sellers, for you, make sure that if you have multiple offers and you are going to accept an offer that does involve financing, um, of course, it's your choice. You don't have to ask the buyer to cover the difference. But, given how our market has appreciated so much, maybe the comps haven't caught up to what the market value is. So it is important to ensure for yourself and for your bottom line that that gap is going to be covered.
Yes, absolutely. Time frame is a very important aspect when you're making an offer, because if you can be flexible with your time frame, it really might help you win the bid. Because some sellers are like ready to get out immediately, and in that case, I hope you have a good lender that can close in 30 days.
Right.
But then some sellers want to go ahead and sell in this market, and then maybe they're going to need 60 or 90 days to pack up their house or to find out where they're going to live. And so if you can be flexible with your time frame, it might really help you win that bid.
Absolutely. Definitely. And then what about home sale contingencies?
It seems like that is a thing of the past. You have to time that so perfectly to sell your house and then to buy the new one. In this market, it's just really difficult. A lot of sellers that are selling don't love the home sale contingency because they're worried that you might not be able to sell your house.
Right.
So that's just another one that you have to be, that sellers don't love sometimes, but we all know it's necessary.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard because and we talk to folks all the time that are like, yeah, I'd love to buy this house, or, I'd love to move to the area. I'd love to take advantage of this market, but where am I going to go next? So it's a catch 22 because you want to be prepared for the perfect house to come up and make that offer, but at the same time, you don't want to be homeless. So it's also an option, if you are thinking of selling a property and you do want to take advantage of this market. Obviously, if you're able to rent for a couple of months, just to set yourself up for success as far as your purchase offer is concerned, it might be worth it for you if moving is something that you want to do or need to do at this time.
Yes, and the good thing is Margot and I can definitely help our buyers with Airbnbs or short-term rentals if they need to go ahead and sell and move to this area until they're able to find that perfect home.
Yeah, definitely. Awesome. So these are the terms that we've kind of outlined as being important in our North Carolina real estate contract. And when you work with Stacy and myself, we will ensure that we're advising you properly. Obviously, we can't make you do anything that you're not capable of doing, but at least we can equip you with the right information about what the market is doing so that you can better prepare yourself, and do what you need to do now in order to win the bid and not keep losing out on multiple offer situations, because that's never fun.
No.
No. All right. So, what are some best practices? This was the point of our call, is just to talk about in order to win the bid. Obviously, we've kind of touched on that on the previous slide, talking about the terms and how to apply those terms to a winning offer. But, Stacy, is there anything else that you'd like to add as far as best practices are concerned to win?
I just can't. I can't stress enough how important it is to get pre-qualified for a mortgage and to have that when you start looking.
Yeah.
Because with days on the market at 5 or less, it's going to be very important that you have everything ready to go before you even start looking. So even if it's a cash offer, the seller is going to want proof of funds. So it's a really good idea to have all your ducks in a row before you go in to make that offer, to have a pre-approval, and a pre-approval is different than a pre-qual. Like, someone can pre-qualify you for a mortgage, but they haven't really seen your bank statements. You just told them how much money you make.
Right.
So a pre-approval is very important to have. And it's good to come in really strong with the due diligence. Tell us about the house that you had multiple offers on this week. How did your seller go about making that decision?
Yeah, well, we had a house that was listed for sale in Leland, and we priced it where the comps told us that it should be priced, but we ended up with very aggressive multiple offers, and until it closes, I can't disclose to you kind of where we are or what was offered. But what I can tell you is my seller, as you said earlier, Stacy, my seller did not care as much about earnest money. Earnest money doesn't matter to my seller. What was really important to them was seeing that due diligence fee up front. And again, that's not important to everyone, but even if you don't agree that it should all be in due diligence, that's what's happening in our marketplace. So if you are looking to buy a house, you've got to keep up with what's happening in order to win. So due diligence was really important, and the offer that we accepted definitely reflected, a significant due diligence amount, and it was a quick close. These folks are relocating to the area. They were able to sell their house where they are, and it's going to work out really well for everyone involved. But one point I wanted to make with best practices is, go ahead and run your numbers. So if you're watching this and you live in another state or another area of North Carolina, or maybe you live in our areas, definitely go ahead and contact your local real estate broker. We're happy to obviously help you if you're in our area, or connect you with one of our EXP agents in your local market. But the importance of that is going ahead and getting a CMA done on your home, so you know how much the property's worth. Stacy, we were running some CMAs on some properties in different areas yesterday, and I mean, you could speak for it yourself, but that seller, do you think that they're going to be happy to hear what their properties are worth right now?
Absolutely. I think a lot of sellers don't realize, or potential sellers don't realize, the gold mines that they're sitting on.
Right.
Especially investors that have had houses for a while. What I come across a lot at the beach are lots or houses that have just been passed down from generation to generation.
Mm-hmm.
And so they might not realize that a lot they bought for $20,000 in 1970 is worth $500,000 right now.
Yeah.
And so, and it's just sitting there, and they're paying taxes on it. And I have plenty of buyers that would love to put a house on there and to start, generating income as an investment property or as a second home.
So that's a plug. If you have a if you have a vacant lot on top
Yes,
or anywhere near where Stacy is, let us know.
I have buyers, lots of them.
Yeah, but it is, getting a proper comparative market analysis on your property, knowing what it's worth, and then developing a plan, your exit strategy. Do you need to take all of your profits from your sale and sink it into the next purchase? Or could you potentially, like Stacy mentioned, talk to a lender and look at some options for financing just a portion of the entire, price of the home or the property, so that you can save some cash, especially because we don't necessarily know what the next year is going to bring in our economy. So I think a lot of people are thinking about kind of hunkering down, and it's probably not a bad idea. But you don't have to take all of your cash and sink it into the next purchase. You just have to be competitive with the terms that we've talked about. So I think that we've kind of covered all the bases. Would you say so, Stacy, as far as best practices?
Yes, but you did bring up cash, so I would like to talk about that quickly.
Yeah.
Um, do you see that a seller that is getting a cash offer is usually way more excited about that than any, um, do you think that's a selling point if you're a cash offer?
Oh, 100%. 100%. Yeah.
And I will tell you that a lot of my clients have won that bid by giving a cash offer, but then not actually paying cash for the property. Like, you do need proof of funds. So say they have plenty of money in their stock accounts,
Hmm.
but they don't want to cash out right now.
Right.
If you have a good lender that can get your loan together in 30 days, you can make a cash offer and then still get a mortgage.
That's a good point. Yeah. No, definitely.
And so,
Yeah. I guess the
yes,
only difference would be if you were going to do like a 2-week closing, or something like that.
right, right. So, I've had one of my lenders is very good about doing, they can close in less than 30 days. And so, I've had several of my people win that offer with a cash offer and then turn around and get a mortgage, because interest rates, even though they're rising, it's still, it's still very good cost of funds.
Right, absolutely. Yeah, that's a great point. And also, Inman just released an article the other day. There's a lot of companies out there that lenders are now partnering with that actually can offer cash for you. So if you're needing to sell your house, and it is a contingent sale offer, you can work out a deal with this company, make a cash offer on the house that you want to, and then tie everything up with that company after closing.
Yes, I just feel like that's a great, that's a great tip, Margot.
Yeah, awesome. Well, Stacy, thank you for being here. And for all you guys watching, I'm Margot Weatherford. This is Stacy Owens. We are International Coastal Properties with eXp Realty in coastal North Carolina. And if you have any needs in North Carolina, South Carolina, or down in the Caribbean, please give us a call. We're here to help. And we just love the buyers and sellers that we get to work with every day. So we hope this was helpful, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.